Hello everyone and welcome back to Half Magic Tarot. Today's pick a card reading is what makes you perfect. So what are the traits, the characteristics that you have that really makes you an elevated, ideal, interesting person? There are 4 piles to choose from, and I suggest selecting your pile based on the pile marker that sparks a memory in you. So for example, I would choose pile 4, this 10 of Pentacles, because the person in the bottom left of the card is sitting kind of like crisscross, and they're looking up to the sky, and it reminds me of doing yoga, which I do pretty frequently, and so that is why I would choose that. I will put the timestamps in the description down below, so feel free to pause your video now to select the pile. Let's get started. If you selected pile 1, the 10 of Wands, welcome to your reading. Let's figure out what makes you perfect. What are the traits that you have that really make you stand out, that people find really pleasant about you? So we're starting off your spread here with this Knight of Cups. And so for a lot of you, you could be Pisces or have prominent Pisces placements in your natal chart, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. But the whole theme of this pile really is your ambition and determination and that ability to spread that hopefulness, that vision of the future, that feeling of being able to get what you want for yourself to other people. And I think the Knight of Cups really represents that ability to share your vision, because the Knight of Cups is someone who is very creative, someone who looks forward to the future, who imagines beautiful things for themselves and other people, and is also very good at communicating that and sharing it. This is someone who typically has a lot of close connections, so you probably have a lot of friends, you have family members that really care about you, and they see you as someone who can kind of pick them up when they're feeling down and make them see the glass as half full, particularly when they are feeling stuck or stagnant in certain areas of their life, because you are someone who, if you have a vision of this is something that I would like to do, you're very good at taking the practical steps in order to get there, and most of the time you do end up manifesting that vision for yourself, and other people see you do it and they think, I can do that too, and you are very supportive in that way as well, and so that rubs off on people quite frequently. Now, the next card in your spread here is the Hermit, and this represents Virgo energy. So again, you could be a Virgo or have a prominent Virgo placement in your natal chart, but Virgos we think of as being like the very organized, analytical sign. So you have both the vision, the ability to fantasize and daydream about what you want out of your life that this Knight of Cups, this Pisces energy has, but you also have the organization, the analytics to be able to implement those visions and make them your real life. So you guys are, again, probably excellent manifestors. Another thing about the Hermit is that this is someone who definitely learns from their lessons. So when something doesn't work for you, you are not really dwelling on it so much. You take that information and you move forward. You don't really let your setbacks hold you back, which I think is something that other people also notice about you. You're constantly trying to grow and change. You do not want to be someone who's stuck repeating the same patterns over and over again. And I think because you are so analytical about maybe things that you've been through and what you want, you are very good at voicing your emotions. You have a really excellent way with words. In the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck, the Hermit is represented by someone who is walking through the snow. And water in tarot represents emotions. Air in tarot represents intellect. So snow is kind of like the emotions made tangible, being able to really pinpoint exactly what those emotions are and why they're there and translate them so that way other people really understand. So I think you're very good at explaining yourself, and you're very good at kind of advertising what your thoughts are and your emotions. And I think people really appreciate that clarity from you, and that's also been something that's been really helpful for you in manifesting all of those daydreams that you have. So the card in the middle of your spread here is this Ace of Pentacles. And this is all about new opportunities. You are someone who creates these new opportunities for yourself. And I also see the Ace of Pentacles in terms of personality as someone who is extremely present, someone who is within their body, someone that people feel like is an active listener, They feel like someone, who really understands them or cares about them, and someone who really takes the time to enjoy their life. But this is also very hardworking energy. So again, your ambition, your determination, your present energy, your ability to translate your feelings and listen to other people's and be very supportive is what's making you perfect. So the next card in your spread here is the Three of Wands, which is a card about manifestations coming in. So again, you guys are master manifestors. This is also a card that is about being able to really plan when it comes to having like setbacks or plan around any obstacles you have, which I think also goes with that hermit energy of being able to reflect and know, if this didn't work for me, what's going to work now, because I'm not going to give up. And the final card in your spread here is this Three of Pentacles. Now, you can see on this particular card, it is like a beehive. So you think of beehives, they're very cooperative. They do have a leader. I think the people in this pile have a lot of leadership qualities, but you also work really well with other people. You generally get along with people, and I think people really admire the work that you put in. Whether that's at your literal job or in friendships, you are someone who they feel is definitely active, proactive, and working towards a common goal. And in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck, the Three of Pentacles is represented by kind of like an artist showing off this painting that they did on a wall to the people above them, and the people who commissioned the painting are like very impressed with it. So this is you having talent that you are very good at showing. You're very good at proving yourself and working hard, and people see that about you. And you might also have a little bit of creative flavor, especially with this Knight of Cups here. I think you have to have a certain level of creativity to envision everything that you want for yourself and to be able to manifest that. So you've kind of got the best of both worlds of having both that creative, ambitious mind and, fantasizing what could be possible for you. And then you also have this very analytic ability to take steps to get there. And people like that you are stable but optimistic, and they feel like they can really come to you and you understand what they're trying to say and they understand what you're trying to say to them. You're very well spoken. And that's all coming through in the pile marker you selected, this 10 of Wands. Now the 10 of Wands is a card about someone who is extremely hardworking. If you look at the imagery in this card, this person's carrying 10 sticks. They're taking them back to their house, their village, whatever. And so this is someone who is not afraid of hard work. And this is someone who can see the finish line. They can see their vision. They can see the point that they're trying to reach in front of them. And so I think being able to imagine all of the good things that are happening to you is the thing that is going to sustain you and keep you being dedicated and hardworking. So for your archetype cards, we got Queen. Now this says, radiates the regal feminine and uses her benevolent authority to protect others. So you think of a queen. This is someone who is very hardworking, but also, again, benevolent, someone who really helps other people. And so I think because people look up to you for these qualities of being both ambitious and practical and having the steps to kind of make those visions come true, you have these really amazing leadership qualities, and you also have an approachability that people really look for and they come to you. And I think this also goes with that Three of Pentacles. I mean, the Three of Pentacles card we have in your spread here has this beehive. So you are like the queen bee. I think a lot of people look up to you and do definitely see you as a leader, but they don't see you as someone who distance yourself from the people that you are working with. They definitely see you as approachable, and people like doing things for you because they feel like any relationship with you is very symbiotic. People never feel like you're just taking from them and never giving back. Now, the next archetype card here we have is Fool, which says fearlessly revealing emotion and helping people laugh at absurdity and hypocrisy. So the Fool is also a card in tarot. It's the very first card in any tarot deck, and it's all about kind of taking a chance, embarking on new journeys. And I think that really pairs well with your ambition. This particular card, this archetype card, is about being able to kind of reveal your feelings, reveal what your intentions are, without fear, without self-consciousness. And I think that really goes with that hermit of being able to make your emotions tangible, of combining that intellect and that emotional openness and vulnerability. And I think that's why people feel that you are so approachable, is because you can point out when maybe their pessimism is holding them back, but you don't really make people feel bad about maybe not having the same drive as you do. I think you make people feel very comfortable to express their insecurities, and then you also inspire them to keep it pushing, basically. So I would say overall, it is your leadership qualities, your ambition, your dedication, your hardworkingness, your approachability that makes you perfect, my pile ones. And that is awesome. So thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I put out a new video once a week. Thank you again, and take care. If you selected pile 2, the 10 of Cups, welcome to your reading. Let's figure out what's perfect about you. What is the trait that you have that other people really admire, that makes you really awesome? So we're starting off your spread here with this Queen of Swords in reverse. And the Queen of Swords is someone who's kind of seen as being a little bit like difficult, standoffish sometimes. And I think that she's in reverse here because sometimes the Queen of Swords upright can come across as emotionless. And I think for a lot of you, you have almost this kind of dark, mysterious, gothic quality about you that makes other people think that maybe you are also kind of emotionless, especially paired with the Death card in your spread here. So Death in the tarot is associated with Pluto or Scorpio. If you think about the zodiac sign Scorpio, we kind of associate it like with the color black, mystery, intensity, depth. And so Scorpios are kind of seen as being very like also standoffish, kind of embodying this Queen of Swords quality. But Scorpio is water sign, and water signs are known for being emotional. So really there is a lot of emotional movement underneath this kind of facade of being very like collected. And so the point of all this is to say that with the Queen of Swords in reverse, I feel like that is really your overall energy, where you come across as someone who is very put together and very good at looking at things objectively, even though you do have a lot of emotional attachment to things. And I think it's because you are someone who is kind of secretly so sensitive that it has taken you a while to really be able to balance these two sides of yourself. So I think that you have really had to work a lot in your life to kind of turn that Queen of Swords upside down and be able to separate your emotions from things and really look at things objectively. But I think it is your ability to kind of see things through a bird's eye view and really understand that in the long term, a lot of things are not that serious, that other people really appreciate about you. But again, you're not completely cutting yourself off from your emotions. You just know at what point your emotions are kind of leading you to catastrophize, and at what point it's better to disconnect and allow that practical mind to take over, that wisdom that you've accrued throughout the years. And so I think this is a tool, an instrument that you have really worked on and practiced with. And because of that, we have these next cards in the spread. So we have the Five of Wands. And the Five of Wands is a card that is often about conflict or just having like a terrible day. It's those regular setbacks in life. And a lot of the times they can be very frustrating. And I think maybe in the past, you maybe had like a low frustration tolerance where you were the kind of person where if you were having like a really bad day, or if you had an argument with someone, it was something that could really devastate you emotionally. But I think as you've grown older and as you've accrued more wisdom, now you can kind of see things for what they are, which is that, everyone is coming into something from their own perspective. And sometimes that's just life. I mean, you're bound to have bad days. You can't have a good day every day. And I think you're very good at accepting that some days are just not going to be the perfect day for you. And another thing that I really like about this particular card is that in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck, it is about conflict. So it's, 5 people kind of like hitting each other with sticks. But if you look closely at the card, all of the people in it are children, and they're really kind of playing. So it's being able to find the levity in those situations, being able to, find the humor in the things that are not going great for you. And I think that has been immensely helpful for you in not catastrophizing and not really being sucked into drama or not really being down on yourself. I think you've really kind of taken almost like a carpe diem approach to your life that other people really admire. And that's also coming through in the 7 of Pentacles here, which is a card about patience. It's about knowing that even if you don't have, the rewards right now, good things are coming to you. They're in the pipeline. Being able to look to the future and know that just because something's bad right now doesn't mean that it's always going to be difficult. And again, we have next in the spread this Death card. So like I said, this does represent Scorpio energy, so you could be a Scorpio or have a prominent Scorpio placement in your natal chart, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. With this Queen of Swords in reverse here, you could also be an Aquarius or have a prominent Aquarius placement. But the Death card is a card that is really about accepting loss, accepting things that you can't take with you, accepting that you've only got this one life to live and you have to live it in the way that's best for you. So if you look on this card here, there's this rabbit that has died, but it is ultimately feeding this new community of mushrooms. And something that I really like about the Death card is in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the Death card is depicted by, there's like an anthropomorphized version of death that comes riding in on a horse. And it has the king, the pope, a beautiful woman, a child at its feet, because death doesn't discriminate. We're all going to die. Life is really too short to kind of allow yourself to get caught up on little things that don't really matter in the long run when there is so much beauty and so much growth and so much opportunity in the world. And I think that is something that you really embody. That's a philosophy that you really live by, that other people notice and really admire about you. And that's also coming through in the last card in your spread, this 8 of Cups, which is like Death, a card about transition. It's about knowing when something is no longer going to serve you and being able to leave it behind and go after what you need. Go after what you deserve. And so overall, I would say with these cards, this is really saying that you are someone who has learned how to control your very sensitive nature and really look at things pragmatically and say, my life is too short to be caught up in drama or too short to be worried about, what other people think of me, or too short to feel like everything's going to be bad because my life didn't end after, whatever bad thing happened to me. There's always joy to be found. There's always new opportunities to chase after. And so it's that kind of resilience and that ability to transform and that objectiveness that really makes you perfect. And I think that's also coming through in the pile marker you select, this 10 of Cups, because the 10 of Cups is a card that really represents emotional fulfillment. If you look at this card, it represents like a family unit. They're having fun, they're dancing, they're standing in front of this house. It's not a mansion, but it's their house. They've probably made it a home. They seem to be having fun together. And the 10 of Cups is not really necessarily like, oh, everything's perfect. If you think about the 10s in the tarot, they come after, the rest of the suit. So we've had the ups and downs of the entire suit of cups. You have, the 5 of Cups, which is a card about grief. You have the 2 of Cups, which is a card about connection. You have the 3 of Cups, which is a card about joy. You have the 8 of Cups, which is also in your spread, which is a card about having to leave things behind. And so you've really experienced ups and downs, but you still find a way to enjoy where you've come. You feel really grateful to be where you are. And again, that gratefulness, that resilience, and that ability to embrace change is what really makes you perfect. So your first archetype card here is Midas or Miser, and this says an entrepreneurial or creative ability to turn anything into gold. You delight in sharing life's riches. So I think this is more metaphorical. You can turn anything into gold. So you can turn these bad experiences, you can say, this will make a great story, or this will allow me to kind of experience something new, or maybe that thing ended or it didn't work out, but there's still room for me to grow. Actually, this pile reminds me a lot of, I think I listened to this interview with the singer Lorde a long time ago, and she was talking about how when she went through her first really big breakup, she listened to the song Silver Springs by Fleetwood Mac a lot, which is my favorite Fleetwood Mac song. But, she was grateful that she really got to listen to those breakup songs and understand them and just have that kind of visceral emotional reaction. So it took having that heartbreak and something bad happen to her to really be able to experience that change and find beauty in things that maybe she couldn't fully understand before. And I think that is really kind of an anecdote that you embody. So your second archetype card here is Goddess, which says the feminine expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality. So I think you have accrued a lot of wisdom. You know when to let things go. You know when something's not worth your time. You know how to draw your boundaries and keep it moving. You know that life's too short to be stuck in a situation or worried about something that ultimately won't really affect you for too long, or is not something that you really have to deal with. You won't maximize your suffering just because you are in that place now. And I think you also are really emanating your life force by spreading that you are seeking joy. I think other people really admire your ability to draw boundaries and let go of the things that do not serve you. So overall, my pile twos, I would say that is what makes you perfect. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I put out a new video once a week. Thank you again, and take care. If you selected pile 3, the 10 of Swords, welcome to your reading. Let's figure out what makes you perfect. So what are the traits or qualities that you have that are very ideal and unique to you? So we're starting off your spread here with this Justice card. And Justice is a card that really can be about fairness, about the ability to see, what the correct path is and the passion to go after that. And within the context of this spread, what I'm really picking up from this card is that a lot of you are people who are very spiritually inclined. I mean, obviously you're watching YouTube tarot readings, but I think for the majority of people who chose this pile, you are someone who is very interested in your own spiritual growth and development. And it's something that you've been working on for a while. And because of that, you've really had to do a lot of shadow work or kind of dealing with the unsavory parts of yourself. And in particular, I think in the past, this may have been feelings of unworthiness. And so with this Justice card coming up, this is kind of you looking into the ways that you are contributing to your own suffering or being unfair to yourself. And so I think that you have kind of started to embody this Justice energy, which is kind of this like Libra energy. If you think of Libra, the zodiac sign, it's a Venus ruled sign. It's very fair, but it also sees the beauty in things. And so I think if you're coming into this Justice energy and applying this energy to yourself, you are challenging yourself for the beliefs that are not helping you and are not fair to you, and telling yourself that you can really do anything that you put your mind to, that you have an innate worthiness. And I think that is something that really rubs off on the people around you. People kind of, when I was pulling the cards for this pile, I heard the term shine theory, which I think was coined by the Call Your Girlfriend podcast, but it's basically if you are shining and successful, then some of that also rubs off on your friends and the people around you. They also, start to shine and be successful because they have someone, to model that path of success after, and also someone who is, supportive and also in the same element and not being pessimistic. And so I feel like, this is something that you really embody. And people see you as someone who is just very kind-hearted. People really innately trust you because they know that you do things out of the kindness of your heart and you do things as fairly as possible. So with the next card in your spread being this Queen of Wands, I really think this represents how the outside world sees you. And the Queen of Wands is someone who is super charismatic, life of the party. A lot of the time she's really hot, so you could be very physically attractive, and that's one of the things that makes you pretty perfect. But generally, this is someone, like, if you saw them walking down the street, you'd be like, oh my God, that person is so fabulous, or they seem so cool. Like, you just have a very magnetic aura about you. And these kinds of people can bring out feelings of like jealousy or competitiveness in other people. So that might be something that you've noticed, is that other people seem to like want to compete with you. But the Queen of Wands is someone who is not competitive. She does not have a lack mindset. She really believes that there's enough luck, there's enough opportunity in the world to go around, and she kind of lives by that. So she is very welcoming and accommodating, and that's one of the reasons why people like her so much. So again, I do think that these are qualities that you have, and in particular, you really believe that everyone has an innate ability to get what they want. Everyone has a unique point of view and a talent, and you have really worked to cultivate yours. And so I think people find you particularly fascinating because you have a very unique point of view, you have unique life circumstances, and also they like that you seem very spiritually evolved in comparison to most people, because a lot of people, they really resist having to reflect on, the things that they need to work on for themselves, because it's painful to admit that something that you do is not serving you, or is maybe hurting other people, or, just not good for you in general. It can be hard to shed those traits, to look them in the eye and say, this is not the kind of person that I want to be, and be able to work past that. And I think people recognize that about you, and they recognize that you are someone who is very emotionally mature in that regard, because you've spent a lot of time working to shed those feelings of insecurity or unworthiness that maybe you were projecting onto certain circumstances or situations in the past. So the card in the middle of your spread is the Tower, and again, I think that really encapsulates kind of this energy of being willing to let go of what's not serving you, because that's what the Tower card is all about to me. The Tower is about something that's not steady, something that has never really been all the way there, something that didn't have a good foundation crumbling down. And I think this is your willingness to get rid of the things that aren't serving you, to look at something and say, just because it's comfortable, or I'm used to it, or I spent a lot of time on it, does not mean that it's the right thing for me, or that I have to stick to it. And I think that is, again, really difficult for a lot of people, because a lot of people really do live in like a lack mindset, and they feel like if I let go of this, there will be no other opportunities for me. And I do get the sense that for a lot of you, this is maybe a belief that you have struggled with in the past, that you are really working to correct within yourself. So again, you have this willingness to let go of things that aren't serving you, even if it's something that's comfortable, even if you are not sure what comes next. And the good news is that it typically works out for you, because the next card we have here is the World. And the World is the last card in the major arcana of the tarot. And so this is kind of the completion of the Fool's journey. This is everything coming together. This is your accomplishments. This is your achievements. And I also see the World because it's associated with the planet Saturn, which is the planet of like hard lessons. I see it as, you've made it to the end, and it wasn't necessarily easy, but the ups and downs made it worth it. And it's really about coming into a certain level of maturity in order to succeed. And again, I think that's where you are letting go of the things that are not helping you, letting go of the beliefs that you used in the past to maybe protect yourself that are no longer helping you. and allowing them to fade away, so that way you can embrace this energy of accomplishments and change and fulfillment. And a lot of the times I also see the World card as this inner knowing that you deserve to have these things happen to you, that you have a certain level of worthiness that allows these things to come to you. And I think that also goes into that magnetic quality of the Queen of Wands, because the Queen of Wands is someone who does have this pull about them that makes them seem like they have like lucky girl syndrome, but really it's just knowing that they deserve to have good things happen to them. You know, they have qualities that are enviable, they have talent, they have work that they've put in. You know, they're doing the work behind the scenes to make these things happen. And I really feel like that describes you. And with the last card in your spread here being this Two of Swords, I mean, this really ties it all back into me, because a lot of the times the Two of Swords can come up as someone refusing to like cope with something. But I think in the context of the spread, it's really saying to me that this was kind of you in the past, someone who is maybe using certain coping mechanisms in order to protect yourself. But now you've recognized the ways in which they are no longer serving you, and you're ready to shed them and make that decision and make your move. So for example, in the past, like I said, I get the sense that for a lot of you, you did have kind of a lack mindset, or you felt insecure, or like you weren't worthy. So maybe in the past, you thought, you know, I really want to be treated better in my romantic relationships, but you settled for like breadcrumbing or people who weren't good for you because you were scared that you weren't going to find someone who would treat you well. Or with a job, maybe you said, I'll just stay at this job that I hate because I'm scared that if I try to leave, that the other job's not going to be good for me, or I'm not going to enjoy the people that I work with, or it's not going to work out. And I think that is something that you have really, through your spiritual practice, learned to let go of. You've decided to stop worrying about green tomatoes. So what that means is you're no longer fearing something that hasn't even happened yet. You're not allowing yourself to have anxiety about something that hasn't happened, and instead you're starting to look at the world through a place of, I have innate worth, and therefore I have the ability to have these good things happen to me, and so does everyone else. And so I think that energy really rubs off positively on the people around you. And with the pile marker that you selected being the Ten of Swords, I think this kind of also embodies that energy, because the Ten of Swords, I mean, you look at it, this is a person laying on the ground with 10 swords in their back. This is someone who has been through the ringer. This is someone who has felt defeated. The good news about the swords is that the swords in tarot represent your mental stuff. So this is not really an ending. This is just you feeling down mentally, maybe hitting rock bottom mentally, feeling really poorly about yourself. But the other good news about the Ten of Swords is that the 10 is the end of the numerical suit. So this is over. This is the worst that it's going to get. You can only go up from here. And I think that's really the mindset that you've adopted. I mean, look at this person. They have the rainbow in the background. They have this beautiful, colors in the sky kind of coming up behind them. There's still hope. There's always hope, even if you have to let go of things that are not working for you, even if you have to really examine yourself and, decide to do that hard work of, letting go of the coping mechanisms that are no longer serving you. Like maybe in the past you've decided, I'm just not going to try so that way I don't get hurt. You're recognizing now that removing yourself from the possibility of being hurt is also removing yourself from the possibility of gain and success. And so I think through your spiritual practice, you're kind of opening up to letting go of that bad habit and stepping more into this abundance mindset. And that's exactly what the Queen of Wands has. So really, I would say overall, that abundance mindset is what makes you perfect. So for your first archetype card, we got Monk/Nun, and this says selfless devotion and single-minded dedication to spirit. So again, you are someone who is very focused on your spiritual growth. You are very focused on tapping into the divinity within yourself and believing that you have an innate sense of worth because you are part of the world, because you are part of the divine. And I think that spiritual reflection is really what drives you to become this kind of justice figure who is fair to yourself and to other people, and also encourages people to become the best versions of themselves. Your second archetype card here is Gambler, which says a willingness to follow intuition even when others doubt you. And so to me, this really goes with that Tower card. This is a willingness to let go of things that maybe seem safe, but you know intuitively or in your gut are not for you, are not serving you. So that is maybe the ways in which you are holding yourself back, situations that you know aren't good for you, having the confidence to say, I'm going to take a chance on going after this thing I want, because the worst thing that I can hear is no. And eventually someone's going to say yes to me. And you do have so many yeses waiting for you in your life, especially with the World card here. So again, just keep up that abundance mindset, that optimism, that fairness, that quality of self-reflection, because that is really what makes you perfect. So that is it for your reading my pile of threes. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I put out a new video once a week. Thank you again, and take care. If you selected pile 4, the 10 of Pentacles, welcome to your reading. Let's figure out what makes you perfect. What qualities do you have that are really ideal and specific to you? So we're starting off your spread here with Temperance. And this is a card that is really all about balance and kind of walking that middle path. And immediately what I'm picking up for a lot of you is that people feel like they can come to you for anything. Like you're the kind of friend, if someone wants to go out and party, they can come to you. If someone just wants to have a chill night where you go and try a new restaurant, they can come to you. If someone wants to go to the library, they can come to you. Like they really feel like they can ask you to do anything and you are there for them. You are very loyal, and you also have a lot of empathy and a lot of knowledge on maybe how to deal with difficult situations. People really can come to you for advice a lot. I think people come to you when they're going through hard times because you can be a real source of comfort, but you are also not someone who is going to coddle someone who is, contributing to their own suffering, or maybe seeing things from a backwards perspective. You're not really afraid to tell people, you might be over exaggerating, or you might be looking at things through a wrong lens. Like you're very much someone who gets other people to see both sides. And so I think your ability to flex your empathy and to kind of help people through their own hard times is one of those really amazing qualities that you have. Now, next in your spread here, we have the Sun. And the Sun is the best card to get in any tarot spread, really, because the Sun is a card that's just about pure happiness. And for a lot of you, you could be especially happy or optimistic people, but more what I'm getting from this is that you have the ability to find joy in the little things. So, for example, a lot of the times I'll describe the Sun card as, it's not that you're happy because, something really amazing happened to you. It's not that you're happy because you just won the lottery, although that could be the reason why you're happy. A lot of the times the Sun shows up as simple pleasures. So it's like when a child gets to go and get an ice cream cone, the child is so happy to do that, but really it's not a big deal. And I think that ability to have that kind of childish amusement and joy and curiosity is really what's coming through about the viewers of this pile. So for a lot of you, you are very sensual people, particularly. So people who really value nice clothes, or beautiful surroundings, good food, nice scent. So you probably have a very nicely decorated home. You probably dress in very comfortable clothing, or in clothing that really makes a statement, or really shows off your personality. You might enjoy cooking, or you really like a good meal. But generally you are someone who really values being able to find gratitude in your day-to-day life for the little things. You don't have to be super, financially abundant in order to find things that give you joy. And I think that is, an attitude that is really admirable that you have. I've been reading this book recently called Romancing the Ordinary. I can't think of who the author is off the top of my head, but if you Google it, I'm sure you can find it. And the author is someone who had this kind of freak accident that basically left her unable to enjoy the world forever. Like, she couldn't really handle looking at color. She had to sit in like basically a completely beige room. She couldn't really like process words, so she couldn't really listen to music or like talk on the phone that much. She couldn't really taste her food for a while. She had like a lot of like touch sensitivity, so she couldn't wear like her favorite sweaters. And then once she recovered, she kind of made it her life's mission to really appreciate the miracle of sensual living. And so I think maybe obviously without that kind of traumatic injury, I think that is kind of the philosophy that you live by, that there's always something to enjoy, always something that's a little miracle to appreciate throughout your day. And I think that's also coming through in the card in the middle of your spread here, this Nine of Pentacles, which is one of my favorite cards in the tarot, because it's this card that is about wholeness within yourself. So this is you being pretty independent. So for a lot of you, you could be like very introverted, but you're not lonely people. You really like enjoy being by yourself, and I think you have a very solid sense of self. But the Nine of Pentacles is also about luxury. So you are someone who really values like having nice things or having a very sensual life. So you love nice clothing, you love maybe animals, you probably have pets, you love adorning yourself, you love spending time in the sunshine if you can. Like you really know how to find the luxury in life, which I think taps back in again to that Sun card. And with your Six of Pentacles here, this is pretty interesting, because I think even if you are not someone who is like rich, you really are generous with the resources that you have. So it could be that if you go out with like your friends, you'll pay for their meal or their drink sometimes. If you go out in public, or if your friend asks you to do something, you're really generous like with your time and your energy. You really help people out a lot. And I think that's one of the reasons that people also feel like they can really approach you and come to you for advice, because you are so loyal. You're really there for the people that you care about. And another thing that I'm getting from this is not only are you really there for people and generous with your time and your resources and your energy, but I think people really have a desire to like be reciprocal of that with you. So people really want to be around you and spend time with you. And I think a lot of people really want to help you in a lot of ways. And I think part of that is because with this Sun energy, you have kind of like youthfulness about you. Even if you're not the youngest person like in your friend group, or even if you're not like especially young, you have, again, that like childlike curiosity that makes people kind of see you as being very youthful. And, I think anyone, when they're around children, there's a sense of playfulness and this sense of like willingness to help and guide that comes out in people. So I think a lot of people have those feelings towards you where they just want to like, make sure that you are good. And I said that this was the pile that I would select, and I think this really does apply to me, because I'm in my late 20s, to clarify, and I'm not the oldest person in my friend group, not quite the youngest, but I think people treat me as if I'm the youngest a lot. Like, I'm the friend that everyone's like, well, if you're sick, I can come over and, make you soup or whatever, which is very nice. But I think it's almost like, people have this desire to kind of take care of me. And I think that also extends to you, just because you do have this kind of almost innocence and joy about you. And people really appreciate that in your loyalty and your optimism, your sensuality. And again, that sensuality is coming through in the last card in your spread, this Hierophant card. So the Hierophant is a card that is associated with Taurus. And if you think about a Taurus, some of the first adjectives that come up to describe them are loyal and sensual. So again, there's this really big message about sensuality. So you probably really value like aesthetics, food, comfort. You might be a little bit of a homebody, but you're not someone who is like confined to your home, because people do feel like they can ask you to do things and you're there for them. The Hierophant, though, is also a card that is about, again, stability and loyalty. So again, I think people really just feel like they can rely on you. You are so reliable. You are so loyal to the people that you care about. But the Hierophant is also a card that is associated with spirituality. So I think you are kind of tapped into the spiritual realm. You find value in your spiritual practice. And I think for a lot of you, your spiritual practice has a lot to do with your ability to find joy and wonder in your day-to-day life and be really grateful for what you currently have. So I think that also comes through in the pile marker that you selected, which is this 10 of Pentacles. And the 10 of Pentacles is a card about incorporating abundance into your life. And a lot of the times this is abundance that we share with other people. So everything that you've worked for, everything that makes you feel comfortable and sparks joy for you, is something that you can share with the people around you, because they care about you and you care about them, and you are someone that they can approach for advice, for spiritual comfort when they need it. So your first archetype card here is Healer, and this says passion to serve others by repairing the body, mind, and spirit, ability to help transform pain into healing. And so for a lot of you, you probably have had very painful lives, or you've experienced a lot of pain in your life, and so it took you a long time to maybe tap into this energy where you really are more optimistic and you can look at the world around you and find something to be grateful for, or find something to enjoy every day. And so I think you really help the people around you who come to you for advice, who rely on you for that emotional and spiritual support. You kind of that understanding that you have rubs off on them, that, you know, there's always beauty in situations that are maybe harmful to you. I've quoted this before in other videos, but there is this essay called The Grand Unified Theory of Female Pain by Leslie Jamison. And in the essay, she talks about how she has a friend who kept having a recurring dream in which the friend was in a car accident, and when the car crashed, a bunch of pollen would just like fly out of the crushed hood of the car. And the friend couldn't really figure out what it meant forever, and she was going to maybe like a therapist or an analyst or something like that. And she was talking about this dream, and the person she was talking about it with kind of kept pushing her to say what her first concept of what its meaning might be, and she just blurted out, "My wounds are fertile." And that phrase, "my wounds are fertile," have really stuck with me. I think out of the worst things that happen to us, you know, we come to a level of self-understanding, we gain empathy, we gain insight, we gain emotional maturity, we figure out how to cope, how to heal ourselves, how to see the beauty in the world when there is so much grief. And I think all of the maybe bad things that have happened to you, all of these negative experiences that you've had, have really contributed to your ability to make other people feel safe and seen and comforted, and you have a very healing quality about you. That's also coming through in the second archetype card that we have, which is Messiah, and this says serving humanity with humility. So you are serving the people around you. Even if you feel like you are not, going out of your way to try to heal people, you have a very healing energy, you have a very calming energy, and people feel like they can come to you for advice and for comfort, and you're very non-judgmental, and they like that you can bring out also that kind of childlike sense of wonder within them, because a lot of people, they grow up and they lose that. And I think you kind of remind people of how wonderful the little things in life can be when we're not being bogged down by these, large issues. And so I think you really, overall, I would say what makes you perfect is this healer quality that you have of being someone who's very empathetic, very reliable, very loyal, and who has a great sense of wonder that you are able to give to other people. So that is it for your reading, my Pile 4s. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I put out a new video once a week. Thank you again, and take care.